Now, I've calmed down a little before I made this video because I was furious and hot when I saw Dan Rafael trying to defend his pound for pound list on Twitter. And I had to talk to Fat Man Dan and say, listen, what in the world are you smoking? But then I gotta realize who I'm talking to. This is a guy who knows absolutely nothing about the sport. He just re-signed another contract with ESPN to stay there and represent them again and represent and be the face of boxing. A guy who knows nothing about a sport, never walked into a boxing gym ever to do anything, to watch any sparring, to know who's doing what. All he do is call and find out what's going on. He never walked in a gym. He don't know anything about the sport. All he's going to do is tell you what ESPN wants to tell you. Okay? Here's the order of their pound for pound list, which is basically done by Dan Rafael and no one else, because who else is there? They didn't even care about boxing. So, Roman Gonzalez is number 1 pound for pound. Number 2 is Gennady Golovkin. Number 3 is Andre Ward. Number 4 is Sergey Kovalev. Number 5 is Vasily Lomachenko. Number 6 is Terrence Crawford. Number 7 is Manny Pacquiao. Number 8 is Canelo Alvarez. Number 9 is Guillermo Rigondeaux. Number 10 is Keith Thurman. Now, let me talk about this list first because this list makes no sense whatsoever. Now, let's count how many fighters are HBO fighters who have a contract with ESPN to promote their network and their sport. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Manny Pacquiao's a free agent now, but he's still basically their fighter. 7. So the first 7 fighters are all HBO fighters. Canelo Alvarez, I guess he's an HBO fighter again. So that's 8. Then you got, what else we have here? Guillermo Rigondeaux. Last time we saw him, on HBO. So that's 9 fighters. The only fighter that isn't on HBO that's on the list is Keith Thurman. Does that make any sense to anybody? Danny Garcia's nowhere on this list. Why isn't he? I mean, he hasn't lost. He beat Lamont Peterson, beat Robert the Ghost Guerrero, beat Lucas Matisse. Why isn't he on the list? He beat Amir Khan when Amir Khan was a somebody. Why is he not on this list? Now, Fat Man Dan tried to defend how Gennady Golovkin could be above Andre Ward. Andre Ward, who they call an American hero, has been undefeated and hadn't lost since he was like 11 years old. He's fought the best fighters that there are to fight. What more do you want out of Andre Ward? And he just beat your hero, who is Sergey Kovalev. You were mad that you couldn't put Sergey Kovalev over him now. Before this, they had Andre Ward off the list. But you love him so much, and he's an American hero. Who has Gennady Golovkin beat to even be ahead of Canelo Alvarez? Canelo Alvarez, since he only has 1 loss on his record, and that's to Floyd Mayweather. He has fought Erislandy Lara. He's beat Austin Trout. I mean, what in the world planet are you on? He got in the ring with these guys. He beat Miguel Cotto when Miguel Cotto was the best middleweight in the boxing. That was the big mega fight. And he beat Miguel Cotto. And you mean to tell me Gennady Golovkin has done more? And Fat Man Dan says, well, it's not always about the opponent. It's not about the opponent? Isn't that what you held Floyd Mayweather to when you were denying him? saying that it's the level of opponents and saying Gennady Golovkin has looked more impressive against his opponents. He hasn't fought anybody of any standard. I mean, these guys got padded records, but they're nobodies. Are you serious? These guys were either small, non-power punchers, or they were what? Not properly developed right. They were tailor-made to be knocked out. How many knockdowns Willie Monroe Jr. had? Was he a knockout puncher? No. What about Martin Murray? What about Mac the Knife, Macklin? All of these guys who Sergio Martinez beat, Gennady Golovkin went in there and just destroyed these guys that they've already been defeated, already have been beaten up or lost before. Rubio, the only guy he beat up who was a guy who was already knocked out before, and that was the guy David Lemieux. That was the only other guy who he fought that was another considered a power puncher, and that was his first pay-per-view. He just fought a guy that's a welterweight under him, and he was losing the fight. If the other guy, orbital bone, didn't get broke, he probably would have lost. He was losing. He was being outboxed by the smaller guy. But you saying you're basing this off power? So if a guy gets a knockout, the sport is called boxing, not knockout. And that's what idiots like Dan Rafael don't understand. So you can't listen to morons like this and think they're going to tell you who the best fighter is. So you mean to tell me that Vasily Lomachenko has done more than Terrence Crawford in a boxing ring since he's been here? Are you kidding me? Now, I like Vasily Lomachenko, but Terrence Crawford just beat the best fighter in his division. Both of them fought to see who was the best in the division. 1 versus 2. So, what do you want from him? He beat Ricky Burns. I mean, what do you want? He went over the seas to beat Ricky Burns. He did what he was supposed to do. Vasily Lomachenko shouldn't be over Manny Pacquiao, to be honest. And definitely none of them should be above Canelo Alvarez. This whole thing is a joke. And to say all of these fighters have done more than Danny Garcia. Gennady Golovkin has done more than Danny Garcia. You see? And if Roman Gonzalez wasn't signed at HBO, he wouldn't even be on this list. This is what I talk about when I say the BS in boxing. This is exactly what I talk about. The propaganda, the selling you. And then you got to listen to some commercialized casual fan that's going to come around and start telling you how great these fighters are because they stick them in your face and try to promote them as great. And then when they can only do one thing, as Andre Ward pointed out and had to address on his social media page, because he's not being represented right out here. You know, it'd be cool to see, like they said, we'll see Jay-Z come out and do something for Andre Ward and Rock Nation. But you don't see that. You know, so Ward got to have his team come out and do the talk, and former Ward come out and make a statement, then he's done. But like we were saying, it's always something. With the brother, he always got to prove. That's why people are sick, and they just gonna keep signing idiots like Dan Rafael to get up there and represent the sport when they're a disgrace. Jim Lampley is a disgrace. Max Kellerman is a disgrace. These guys, Harold Letterman needs to have been retired. They're a disgrace to the sport. They need to go. It's time to cut the losses, bring in new talent, new voices, new faces. That's what Showtime did. You got Paulie Malignaggi. You got a whole new team in there calling the fights. We don't have the same old biased fart sitting up there, can't even see the action, calling stuff punches that's not punches, just to try to play off your ignorance. Because if you're listening at home, you think Kovalev is destroying Andre Ward. That's why they do it. They play off your emotion. They know when punches are being thrown or somebody's walking towards them. They, oh my God, look at him. He's coming for it now. They're like, man, this Kovalev guy is incredible. And Kovalev's a good fighter. Don't take nothing away from it. But just like I saw, just like I said, just like Ward said, he only does one thing. Kell Brook just exposed how limited Gennady Golovkin is. And they know it. Why Gennady Golovkin isn't fighting Erislandy Lara? You tell me that. Lara's calling him out saying, I'll fight you at 160. He's been calling him out for 2-3 years. He hadn't gotten in the ring and fought him. Why? You had Vanes Monterrosa said, I will fight Triple G. Why didn't that fight happen? Demetrius Andrade says that he will fight you. He will come to middleweight to fight you. Why you ain't fighting Demetrius Andrade? And y'all support that, HBO. But now he's going to fight Danny Jacobs. A guy who's already been knocked out. He been knocked down against, he got a belt. So I guess it's a mega fight. Danny Jacobs really ain't a knockout guy. But okay. He beat up Sergio Mora. Another light puncher. So when Gennady Golovkin knocks him out in 4 to 5 rounds, then what we're going to say? Huh? What are we going to say then? He's in there with another guy who's not really a big puncher. But we'll see. He has a puncher's chance, but no. It's not even close. But I'm done. It's your boy Karceno. I'm out. Subscribe. Follow the playlist. You know the drill. I'm out, man.